today. My name's Kristen. I'm a physical therapist at Union PT, and we're coming in today to go through some stretches and exercises you can do to relieve neck pain and tension, particularly related to neck pain and tension that you get from doing computer work. So this has been a big problem that we've seen on the rise since we've had a lot of people working from home during the coronavirus outbreak. Neck tension can always be a problem with a lot of desk work, but particularly when the ergonomics aren't ideal, people are working from their kitchen tables or sometimes their couches even, that can definitely put us in less ideal postures where our neck muscles have to do a lot more work and they get more tension. So I'd like to offer you a few stretches you can do today and some things to relieve your pain. You can take this whole routine and do it a few times a day, or just pick and choose the parts that work well for you and use that as often as it's helpful. So quick note of just caution and mindfulness here. Necks can definitely be a sensitive area of the body. There's a lot of nerves and blood vessels that run through them. So please pay attention to your own body. A little bit of light stretching feeling is going to be normal as we go through these movements, but there should never be sharp pain and there should never be any kind of tingling or numbness that goes into your arms or down into your back. So if you notice any of those sensations, pull back from the movement that we're doing, and if it continues, then go ahead and hold off and we can address that later. That would probably be a good cue that you would be somebody who would be a good candidate for physical therapy. But in terms of just your everyday neck tightness and tension, let's go ahead and jump in and start to get that loosening up. So before we do the motions, I just want to check in with you and your body. We're going to go through a few motions and just take note of how you're feeling right now. So if you kind of feel, does one side feel more tense than the other? Try tilting your head side to side. See if one side feels more tight. Turn your head left and right. Kind of notice what's at the edge of your field of vision. We'll come back and check these at the end and see if that changes at all. Also check shoulder tension, up and down, forward and backward. See how that's feeling. All right, kind of cement that in your mind. We'll come back to that in a little bit. We're gonna get things warming up, just get the muscles moving, get some blood flow into this area. I'm gonna do about 10 shoulder rolls each direction. So just go ahead and join in here with me if you're on here live. Do about 10 that direction. And then 10 rolling forward. All right, and then I'll have you take your hands out in front. You're gonna spread your hands apart, hold a couple seconds, and come back together, apart, together. See if you can get a little squeeze between your shoulder blades as you pull your hands apart. Get some of the muscles working in that upper back between the shoulder blades. All right. Then we're going to get some muscles in the back of the neck stretching a little bit. If you think about just pulling your chin down towards your windpipe. Keep your trachea vertical and think about just moving from this axis right at the base of your ears. And then keep a little tuck there. So almost like you feel like you have a double chin, and we're just going to tilt side to side like you're making a little smiling motion with your chin. You may hear a little crunching and creaking. As long as it's not painful, that's okay. Just a little bit of soft tissue moving around. All right, I'm feeling a little bit better already. I don't know about you. So, first big stretch we're going to do is for a muscle called the upper trapezius. This is one of the big muscles that runs from our neck down into the shoulder blade. I want you to think about keeping your shoulder drawn down away from your ears and then tilting your ear towards the opposite shoulder. We're just going to hold this position for about 30 seconds. If you're able to just actively keep your shoulder down using your own muscles, that's ideal. But if you need a little deeper stretch, you can use your hand and hold onto the chair at your seat and lean away just a little further, and that will deepen the stretch. Be cautious here not to overstretch. Just a nice gentle lengthening, pulling. All right, I'm going to go into the other side. Same thing, keep your shoulder down, tilt the ear away. And we're doing about 30 seconds here. Right. Going back to the other side, start with the same motion, ear to shoulder, and then you're gonna look with your nose and chin up towards the ceiling. This should stretch a little bit more on the front of your neck, a muscle called the anterior scalenes. So I'm gonna hold this for about 30 seconds. Just kind of take note as you go through these motions, which ones feel tight for you. You may not need to do all of these stretches, just the ones that feel particularly tight for you. Alright, come on out there, we'll go other side, tilt, and then turn your nose up towards the ceiling, kind of tilting up and rotating. You lift your chin just a little bit, you should be able to feel that in the front of your neck. A lot of tightness just comes from our bodies trying to protect us, just trying to keep us stable through the day. But we have to teach our bodies which of that stability is helpful and which is maybe actually leading to more discomfort. So using these motions to kind of gently ease our bodies into letting go can be helpful. One more here in the neck. Back to the other side, ear to shoulder, and then turn your nose and look down towards your armpit. This one should stretch a muscle called your levator scapula. It runs from the base of your skull down towards your shoulder blade. So you feel a little bit more in the back of your neck. If you find that the stretches feel like a little bit too much, it can help to warm your body up even a little bit more than we did today. So that can be done either actively by going out and going for a little walk, going up and down some stairs, switching to the other side here. Or you can also do that more of a passive heating using a hot pack, a bag of rice, warm shower. Do these stretches when those muscles and that other connective tissue is a little bit warmed up. And sometimes the body's a little bit more receptive to that kind of stretch in the soft tissues when there's been a little bit of warmth and blood flow brought into that area. All right, very nice. We're also going to go into a little bit of a stretch for our pec muscles. So when we're working on computers, it brings our shoulders forward, the muscles in the front get a little bit tight. So pecs run from the front of your shoulder in towards your sternum. So what I want you to do is see if you can find or put your fingertips in your armpit and your thumb just in front underneath your collarbone. You can kind of grab a little bit of that wing of muscle there. If you pull your muscle down and in, like you're pulling it towards your sternum to anchor it, then we're going to move the arm up and down. I'm kind of making like a snow angel type of motion with one arm while you're keeping a little bit of tension there pulling on the muscle. Do about 5 times up and down, and then we're going to go front to back as well. Moving the arm front to back while we maintain a little bit of pressure on the muscle. Then maybe combine those motions, a little bit of an arcing circle, just trying to find a tight place and move into that a little bit. Other side, find that muscle, anchor down and in. We'll go up and down. This is a technique called pin and stretch. So we're trying to pin the tight muscle and then use motion to stretch actively that tissue away from it. And we'll go front to back. And we'll go up and down, make little sweeping circles. All right. The last stretch I'm going to describe, it might be a little hard to get all the camera angles going here, but this is going to be a stretch for the upper back. So the tendency when we're on computers is we start to get a little rounded here, head gets a little bit forward. So we're going to be trying to get some extension and length through the upper back. This can be done in a couple different ways. If you have a chair that's about the right height, you can just try to arc back and lean over the chair, aiming to get that extension from the level of the upper back. Try not to overarch in your lower back when you do that. Another way that I really like, if you're at a desk or table, you're going to bring your arms overhead, you're going to lean forward so that your forearms are going to be resting on the table, and then try to allow your chest to drop through your arms. So I'm going to come around the edge of the table and see if we can get this angle here. So arms are going to go flat on the table, and then scoot the chair back and sit on the edge of the chair, And just let your chest drop through. Let us come through up and down. Take a couple deep breaths once you get there. We'll do about 5 of these. All right. Very good. So that kind of wraps up the stretching portion of this workshop. Now we could leave it at just stretching, but I'd like to add a little bonus section on here today. If we take muscles that are really tight, they're tight for a reason because they're helping to protect something that feels unstable or out of good alignment. So once we've helped those big muscles that have been doing work to guard, and we've helped them to relax and let go a little bit, if we just go back to our bad pattern, sometimes those muscles will just tighten right back up. But if we can provide an alternative and teach your body to use some of the smaller, deep stabilizing muscles instead of using the big guarding muscles, oftentimes we'll get a better prolonged response to the stretching and stay feeling better for a little bit longer. So a couple simple things you can still be doing at your desk in terms of that. We're going to start with just a light chin tuck here. We started with doing something similar in our warm-ups where you're just going to bring your chin towards your windpipe, trying to rotate through this axis right at the base of your ears. You can even put 2 knuckles right underneath your chin and be pressing down into your fingers. We're trying to activate some small muscles right by your windpipe without tensing all the big muscle out here. Just one more of those. Very nice. We're also going to work on getting the core muscles engaged. So think about stretching up, stretch high to the ceiling, pull your lower abs in, and then exhale, actively pull your elbows into your sides. Then we're going to inhale, up, exhale down. 3 more of these. Inhale up, exhale down, inhale up, exhale down, and last one, inhale up, exhale down. Good. And then to help reactivate some of those muscles in the back of your shoulder blade area, we're going to go back to doing these W's with your arms. The palms are up. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Pull the hands apart. When you do this, you want to keep your sternum really vertical. So try to avoid letting your rib cage pop up as your shoulder blades come back. Okay, last one here. And we're done. So in just about 10 minutes, we've gone through some warm-ups, some stretches, and some muscle activation for our deep stabilizing muscles in our core. So pretty simple things you can do to help to relieve some of your strain and tension in your neck. These exercises are great to do, and if you're working through your everyday tension and tightness, I'd encourage you to put these into action. If you found that these motions were painful for you, things were getting sharply painful, causing numbness or tingling, those would be reasons that you should probably see a physical therapist. Also, if you are having pain and doing things like this, stretching and self-care, just aren't getting you better and you feel plateaued, PT can often unlock some places that might be kind of sticky, stuck, or find places that are unstable and need some help to learn how to support your body better so that those guarding muscles don't kick in so much. So here at Union Physical Therapy, we're located in Wallingford in Seattle. We are open at this time, and we're offering telehealth consultations where we can set up Zoom meetings through our platform called Secure Access. We can come right into your home with you, keep you safe and comfortable there. It's also advantageous because we can sometimes look at your workstation setup and see what might be going wrong there and help give you some tips about how to set that up. And we are also offering visits in clinic with some restrictions, but we are available for hands-on care in the coming weeks, and would love to help you out of your neck pain if that's bothering you at this time. So thanks for joining me. I will stick around here for some questions and answers. I think we've had a couple coming in. We're streaming this on a couple of different platforms, so some of my assistants are going to feed me a couple questions here that we've been getting along the way. But if you have a question right now, we'll take a few minutes, drop it in the comments or chat feature, and I'd be happy to address anything that's coming up. Anything that you've gotten there so far?
Let me see here. Let me
Some
slide
questions.
this over to you from social media over here.
All right. So I've had some questions about other things that you can do for neck pain. Warmth and heat is often a good answer to tight muscles. So using hot packs, shower. Be careful that you're not burning your skin, but doing about 10 minutes of warmth around those tight muscles can often help them to relax. Other common questions I'm getting are about posture and what is the ideal posture to have when you're working. Recognize that a lot of people are working through a lot of sub-ideal circumstances, and you're having to kind of make do with what's at home. And that can be tricky for sure, but in general, I would recommend being at a table or counter rather than being on a couch. It's pretty tough to have good biomechanics on a couch. I'm guilty of being a couch laptop worker myself, and for short periods of time, that can be okay, but for long periods of time, that tends to take wear and tear and be hard to deal with. So if you are going to be on a couch, try to stay pretty vertical. Try not to be slumped into the couch. If you're at a kitchen table or counter, trying to sit where you have your ears stacked up over your shoulders, over your hips. So if you were to drop a straight line down, this helps your skeleton to support the weight of your head and your body rather than asking your muscles to be holding up those joints, and can kind of help you last longer into the day before those muscles start to get tired.
Another question that just came in off of our secure video chat, asking about neck pain from when you wake up, and if that requires any different exercises from as opposed to a computer setup, or also talking about pillows, if there's any advice for that.
Yeah, pillows are a tricky one because everyone is a little bit different, but I do have some advice, or at least principles to think about as far as pillows. So the biggest thing when thinking about pillows is that we want as much of the head and neck to be supported at one time, and not leave gaps where there can be airspace. So a lot of times if people are sleeping on their side, the head is touching the pillow and the shoulder is touching the pillow, but there's some airspace in between, and the neck is kind of having to support there and can kind of like sag and hang down into that airspace during the course of the night, and that can cause the muscles to tense up and guard. So if you can try to scrunch the pillow up into that airspace. The same goes on the back. A lot of times there can be a little bit of a gap or airspace behind the neck where there's a little arch in the neck. If that's hanging out in the open space, that'll kind of creep in. So Tempur-Pedic type pillows that have a little bit of a wave to them work for some people, not all in that regard. If you have a soft pillow, you can sometimes just scrunch it a little bit into that space, or also taking a towel and rolling it up and then sliding it inside the pillowcase can be a way to create a little curve there, and you can adjust how big of a curve you need. So a couple things that you could try playing around with as far as pillows go. Neck pain in the morning can be related to pillow positioning, so that's a good place to start with that. It can also be indicative of something the day before that was irritating. Often if there's a small irritation during the day from an activity that's going on, our bodies can keep the blood flowing and move that irritation and inflammation out of the region during the time of while you're up and moving. But then when you go to sleep, that inflammation keeps being produced, but our body's not pumping as much blood flow to clear it out of that space. So sometimes we'll wake up feeling stiff and sore, and then as we get up and moving, those muscles relax. That pertains to if it's more of a muscle tightness feeling. If it's more in the center line, more around the spine of the neck, that sometimes relates to changes in the joints and is a good thing to check in with a PT or sports medicine physician about. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining. It's been great to check in with you for the next stretching session. We'll be saving these feeds to our social media platforms and also to our website, so feel free to check back in and use them as a resource. We'll also be offering some more online workshops, one which is on whiplash, so if anyone is joining with neck pain related to having an accident, car accident, or other injury that included whiplash, keep an eye out for that upcoming workshop, and everyone stay healthy and well. Take care.